everyone, it's Nisha. So today we're gonna talk depression. Yippee! If you've been with me for a while, you know that it's not a secret that I suffer with depression. I don't want to talk too much about it. How it started and blah blah blah, because I have done a couple of videos on that, part 1 and part 2, about 5 years ago. So I might leave a link to that. I look so different. If you're not interested in depression, just want to see what I looked like 5 years ago, it's worth watching. But obviously I didn't have as many subscribers then, so maybe not all of you have seen it. And why I wanted to talk about it again is because you know, I've just had like a flare-up of depression last month, and I don't want to generalize it because obviously everybody is different, everybody's depression is different, but I just wanted to let you know how I cope with it and how I feel about it and what I am doing about it. And please, if you feel you are depressed, see professional, because I'm not a professional. What I say, you know, you shouldn't just take my word for it. See professional. So let me just start by saying I am on antidepressants. I've been on them on and off for years. So my depression started after the birth of my son. So I had it started with a postnatal depression. And in the other videos I'm talking all about it, so I won't go into detail about that. So that's when I first got antidepressants, and I stayed on them, I don't know, maybe 6-7 months, and then I was off of them. But when I think back to those days, I wasn't a very happy person then, even though I had this beautiful new baby. So anyway, all I wanted to say is that I know there's a lot of stigma attached to depression, not so much now, I would say, and that's wonderful. I think the most important thing is to talk about it to your family. And that was one question, that some people don't have very supportive spouses when it comes to depression, or family, and it is because people don't understand it. How many times someone asks you, well, what have you got to be depressed about? Because they don't understand depression. Depression is not just I'm in a bad mood and something happened so I feel sad. It goes much deeper than this. So the only thing you can do is try to educate people around you about it. I don't know, let them read something about it. I really don't know how to deal. I'm quite lucky. Paul is very understanding, although sometimes he's not that patient with me when I'm in that state. And I understand, because it is not just difficult for you who suffer with depression, but it is difficult for everybody around you. It affects everybody and everything. So sometimes he is quite impatient about it with me. You know, he will say something like, well, you're miserable again. And as much as you feel that hurts, but then you think, I can understand, you know, living with someone who is miserable constantly. Not that I am now, but I'm talking about, you know, things that have happened throughout the 19 years of me suffering with depression. Because I have tried to come off of my antidepressants, and I think maybe 2 or 3 times, and each time it was unsuccessful. And the last time I attempted this, it was under doctor's supervision. I did it exactly the way the doctor told me, and when I eventually came off of them, I was fine for 2 months, and then it just started all again. So my solution was, I'm never coming off them again, because there is nothing worse than feeling like you do when you are depressed. But as you know, with my latest bout of depression, I I've talked to you about the positive thinking. And that reminded me of something that I talked about in my 5 years ago videos. And it is a article. It's called The Depression Learning Path by markII and Roger Elliott. I will leave you the link, and I strongly recommend you read it. It's a very interesting read and different way of looking at depression, because everybody tells us different things. So I've made some notes here. So we've heard that depression is caused by chemical imbalance, by a certain style of thinking, or as a result of unfortunate experiences in your life. And usually it could be a combination of all of these. And what they do in the learning path is go through all these three causes. And what they really say about it, that most of all, it is the way you think. And I think I agree with that, because since I've said to you I'm going to try to, you know, practice this positive thinking, gratitude, I feel so much better. And that makes me think that how you perceive world, how you react to certain situation with your thoughts is very important on how you feel. So what they say in one part of this learning path is depression relies on how we explain things to ourselves. Much of clinical depression is about how we interpret reality. And when we start to develop depression symptoms, a depressive thinking style can be impossible to break. And I can see that, you know, when you start thinking negatively and you start feeling depressed, you almost, I call it like wallowing in your own pity. That's what I feel like when that happens to me. Instead of thinking positively, I go deeper and deeper and feel sorry for myself, and everything is useless, I'm useless, there is no point to anything. And I can see how that spirals down to deeper and deeper depression. So it says, by understanding depressive thinking styles, we can begin to see how they form a pattern of thinking, a cycle of depression that creates downward spin and continues to fuel the depression. And they teach you how to break that cycle. And I think that makes perfect sense. Of course, if you have a depression that is caused by an unfortunate event in your family, you know, death, accident, illness, that is different, because obviously you can't sit there and be all positive when someone has died. But that type of depression is probably one that you can treat temporarily with medication and counseling, and that will probably go away. But clinical depression, it seems like it's always there. So what causes it? It must be the way we think. And I must say, I am quite, I wouldn't say negative person, but I stress a lot and I see problem in everything. Paul always laughs at me. He says, you worry if you've got nothing to worry about. So I can really see that, how, and you know, I've talked about it in my last vlog, how our subconscious mind, our mind is so powerful. So I've decided to read this again because I'm now on this path to recovery. Of course I would like to be medication free. No one wants to be on medication, but I am so scared that it's going to bring me down again. So I think I have to start living this life of positive thinking for long enough that I feel confident enough to try to come off of them again. I don't have anything against antidepressants. I know for some people they don't work at all, and for those people I would strongly recommend like cognitive therapy. and cognitive therapy deals with the way we think and how we process our thoughts. So that is something really good. I think any person with depression should have therapy. Unfortunately, especially here in the UK, if you want to get therapy on NHS, you can forget it. You'll be put on a waiting list forever, so you have to pay for it, unless you feel strong enough that by reading certain things and committing to this positive thinking, which is hard, believe me, it is hard. Like he says here, that negative train of thought is very hard to break. But like I said, start with the gratitude, because that makes you think more positively. So like I said, be thankful for what you have. Be thankful that you have both arms, both legs, and it really makes sense. You know, like I've said before also, we are responsible for our own happiness, meaning if someone says to you something upsetting and you say, I'm upset because of this person, because of what this person said, it's not this person's fault. It's not your business what that person says or thinks. It's how you process that, how you think, what you think of what they said to you. So our minds are very, very powerful, and it's hard, very hard, but I spend a lot of time every evening watching YouTube videos on it, reading articles, anything to do with the positive thinking. I just try to learn as much as I can about our mind and what we can do with it. And it is helping a lot. So I am a deep thinker anyway. That probably doesn't help when it comes to depression. I just wanted to tell you that that's the conclusion I've come to, that it's all on us. It's all on how we process our thoughts, how we process information, how we see the world outside. And it has been proven that people that they have tendency to negative thinking are more prone to suffering with depression than positive people. And I think they've even given a sample in this article. Imagine big beautiful tree fallen down in a park. There is a passerby who looks at this tree and says, oh, what a shame, such a beautiful old tree. And that is like a sad response, sad thought. Whereas someone who lives near this park looks out the window, sees the tree falling down and think, great, I've got a beautiful view now. That tree used to block my view. And they see something positive in it. Do you know what I mean? I thought that was a really good example. Another example in there was you've called someone, left them a message, and they haven't gone back to you, I don't know, the whole day. Person like me would probably think, right, they don't want to speak to me, or they don't like me, stuff like that. Whereas positive person would think, maybe they haven't picked up the message, maybe they are busy at work, maybe they called me when I was out, you know, stuff like that. So you can put like 10 people in the same situation and everyone will have different reaction to it and different train of thought and the way they process what's happened, and in turn that will affect their mood, if you know what I mean. So that's all I wanted to say on that subject, because like I said, I will leave you the link of those two videos from 5 years ago where I can't remember even because I haven't rewatched them. I probably explain more about my depression, and also sure I've talked about this learning path in there as well. So I will leave you the links to videos of mine and link to this website. and I really strongly recommend you to read it, because it's very eye-opening, because it will explain all the different causes of depression and what they think about it. And I think that the negative thinking one is most likely the biggest cause of depression, because lower serotonin causes the depression. That's the mood hormone, and when you are thinking negatively, you're lowering that hormone. So what they say, that is not the chemical imbalance that causes depression, is the depression that causes, is the negative thinking that causes the chemical imbalance. Therefore you feel depressed. I want you to go and read it, because obviously I'm not a doctor or scientist or psychologist, so I strongly recommend you read that for yourself. Okay, my lovelies, I hope you found the depression talk and all that a bit helpful. Please go and watch and read the learning path. It is very interesting. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful week and stay fabulous. Bye.